I don't know when you decide I'm going to shoot this behind my back. Is it like waiting for the pass, watching the pass, making the decision after the catch? Dyson Williams, NLL Rookie of the Week, wins it for the FireWolves in overtime behind his back. A team
from a
that,
good distance,
yeah,
nonetheless.
very true.
That was from a good distance away.
A team that needed the win for sure is a big one over Buffalo. Ash was on the sidelines, on the floor for that one. Dyson, thanks for jumping on the show, man. How are you?
Good, thanks. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's nice to be on here after a couple big wins. Obviously, 3 in a row is big for us. So looking to build off of it.
When do you make that decision? I'm shooting this behind my back.
Yeah, I think it's it's over 20 years of playing the game, and it's just instincts. So I think you're used to it, and you got some tools in the bag that you got to pull out at the right time. And I think in that moment that was the right play to be made. Being on at that angle on that side of the floor with the defender in front of you, it's the BTB brings your stick to the inside and gives you a better angle to get the shot off, and it's harder for the goalie to read. So sometimes a long game like that, 7 minutes of overtime, that's how the game ends. It's it goes back to my backyard lacrosse roots, where it's all creative and fun plays to be made. So it was a cool one to go in, and obviously a great win.
Dyson, the atmosphere at MVP Arena has been next level the last 2 weeks, and we've set records for the franchise being in Albany back-to-back weeks, the most people in the arena for the FireWolves since they came here. Can you explain the difference in the atmosphere and what that does for you guys when there's that kind of energy?
Yeah, it's hard to put into words what it does for the team. You see kind of the games that we had at the start of the year where the crowds aren't as great, and that was our 4th overtime game, and our 5th 1-goal game that we played at home, and it's crazy to think that just having those handful of extra fans there compared to even the Georgia game, makes an even bigger difference too. So it's I think back-to-back weekends setting the attendance record at MVP Arena was huge, and we truly did feed off it. It's the difference between winning an overtime game and losing it, because the place erupted and on every play, and it was tons of fun to be a part of. There truly is a buzz now. I'd like to think in Albany for us, and hoping that for the people that have came out to games for the first time in their lives, that they continue to do so, and that we have lifetime FireWolves fans now. So definitely meant a lot to us, especially with us kind of flipping our record and trying to get in that playoff chase, and we're still alive. So want to keep that going, and we're definitely going to need that continued support from our fans.
Two-parter here, and that's the cardinal sin of doing an interview. But you didn't win the Tucker Out Cup, but you still beat the team that did win it, and the team that's at the top of the standings. How much did that victory mean to this team on both levels?
Yeah, it means a lot. There's one thing I didn't want this year is to go 0-3 in Tucker Out Cup games. So it meant a lot to get that win for him. With my whole family in attendance, obviously with Vegas playing in Buffalo the night before, putting up a good fight with them too. Obviously the winner of that game was going to clinch the cup. But it's it was special to have the family there for a great weekend, and to get that win against the team that my dad was playing for when Tucker was still around. So meant a lot to the team to do that. It was an emotional night, but one that I'm definitely never going to forget that game and this weekend. So once again, just huge thank you to the Bandits, Desert Dogs, and to the FireWolves for growing this into something that never could have imagined would be a thing. So it is special, and to see his name on everywhere on the posters for the games and stuff. Obviously, we didn't have the jerseys. We already did the game with the jerseys, but it was still special nonetheless, and great to get that last win of the Tucker Out Cup series this year.
Dyson, we talked about it on the field after the game, but for people listening now, the 4 games prior to Buffalo, things had started to turn. And I think so much of that was thanks to the defense and the shots that they're giving Doug, but also thanks to, Doug has been playing next level. And I think it was even greater next level against Buffalo, a career high 57 saves. Like, I don't know that people understand that doesn't happen almost ever.
Yeah. Being my first year in the league, it's become very clear to me. It's hard to even put up over 50 shots in a game, on net. Every defense you play, it's big, tough, strong, fast, and they match your skill and speed. So the fact that in an overtime win, our starting goalies, saving the ball 57 times just goes to show how calm, cool, collected he is, despite the noise. And Buffalo fans travel well too, and Dougie was hearing it after every single Buffalo goal. And I could only I'd like to think that only added to the fuel a little bit for him too, and he feeds off that. But for him to get a win like that, I was happy that we were able to get the job done in overtime, for him, because he put on a show, and he definitely deserved that win, and I'm happy for him.
What are we, 15 games into the season? 14, 15, 16 games in the season. How are 14, you feeling now as your rookie year goes on? We hear coaches say, and it becomes cliche, but cliches exist for a reason, I think, because they're mostly true. Like at this point in the year, maybe you're not a rookie anymore and shouldn't view yourself as a rookie. Maybe the coaches don't view you that way either. How are you feeling now at this point in the year?
Yeah, I think you're hitting it right on the head. I feel, 15 games in now, it's my experience, and my confidence levels have only grown each game. I'm not the same player I was on November 30th playing in my first ever, NLL game. To see where, our team's gone even, we're a completely different team. And I think that, being the youngest team in the league, there's a lot of growing pains with it, and we're still, trying to build that that chemistry that can last, for the long term. It's special, and I'm learning a lot from the guys in the locker room and on the floor, and I'm enjoying it every step of the way. But I do think that I'm starting to not feel like a rookie anymore, and start to feel that I'm starting to understand the pace of NLL compared to the other levels I've played at, because it's the toughest league I've ever played in, without a doubt. So I think it's tons of fun learning and doing it, but it's nice starting to feel more comfortable and starting to be able to help out in big moments, just because now I feel like I've been through it more and can continue to build off of it.
For a team that's won 4 of its last 5, generally you don't want a bye, but I would venture to say that this bye came at the perfect time in terms of just some injuries and maybe taking a breather. Do you guys view the bye as a positive thing, or do you guys want to keep playing?
We have to view it as a positive thing, because there's no sense of viewing it as a negative thing. We can't control it. So I think the best way to go about it is to look at it as, okay, we got some rest. Let's enjoy the rest, but stay dialed and come back. We're heading to Vancouver next weekend, so it's going to be a big travel week. So enjoy the maybe the weekend off of not really traveling as much, and then we're going to be back at it. So. And then obviously with some injuries, it's not a bad time to get some extra rest there. But yeah, I don't think there's any sense of being thinking about it in a negative sense. When the NLL makes the schedule months ago, we knew that this was our bye week. It doesn't matter that we would hope that we were 15-0 at this point. So the record, it's all kind of how the eggs fall. So it's nice to see that we do. I'm not complaining about getting a little bit of rest this weekend. Yeah. My body's definitely feeling it, especially after a game against Buffalo. They make you earn every single shot. So definitely still feeling it more than I would on a normal Tuesday. So I just think it's great to we're gonna be very excited to get to Van and continue it. So I don't think I'm worried about losing any momentum with the squad, and that we're gonna be back and ready to go.
What do you do after a big win? What do the guys do after a big win like that?
We get to the locker room. We immediately start celebrating, and there's a lot of relief. I'd like to say after those kind of games, you see a lot of guys just hurting and tired, but yeah, definitely a couple, ice cold drinks, to celebrate. But it's yeah, it's nice spending time with the guys, especially majority of the guys, don't live in Albany, and
Right.
they all travel in to see each other. So the time that we get together, it's Friday afternoon till Sunday morning. Everyone leaves, so and most of the time that we are spending together leading up to the game is preparation for the game. So it's nice having some time to actually kick back and hang out with each other and enjoy each other's presence especially after a big win. So it's
Nobody raids Clarky's fridge.
no, Clarky's fridge is property of Clarky. No one goes near his fridge. He's no, I'm sure he'd be, especially after a win like that. I think he'd be very happy to open to us.
Be happy to share.
But we have our own that we get to use, so it works out perfectly.
Bye this week, Vancouver next week, back home for the regular season home finale, April 12th. Get your tickets now. You've got basically 3 weeks to get your tickets.
Let's go.
Set another attendance record, because listen, they're going to need you there. Every game is a must win at this point, right, Dyson? Every game.
Yep.
100%. We're trying to stay hot, and we would love all the support that we can get.
Keep it rolling, man. Thanks for being with us, dude.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.